The Luce is Ferrari's first fully electric production vehicle. I never even thought I'd be saying that sentence in my entire life. That means no V8, no V12, no screaming naturally aspirated masterpiece, no engine at all, just batteries and electric motors. Now before the comments explode, no, this video is not just EV equals bad. Electric cars can be incredible. The problem isn't that the Luce is electric, the problem is that it's a Ferrari. And Ferrari built its entire reputation around emotion, and the Luce just doesn't have any. Hello people, welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the new Ferrari Luce and all the backlash that Ferrari has been getting from other car companies such as Nissan, Bugatti, and even its biggest rival Lamborghini. And yeah, so before we get into the video, join the Discord server link in the description below, and comment some other topics you want me to cover if you find this interesting. So yeah, let's get started. There are a couple good things to know about the Ferrari Luce, so let's start with what Ferrari absolutely nailed. Performance, because of course they did, it's Ferrari. The thing is absurdly fast. Instant torque, massive acceleration, ridiculous launch capability, and 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds. That's pretty quick. But that's just like every single characteristic of any other electric performance car out there. Let's be real. So, unlike some other manufacturers that slap together an EV and call it a day, Ferrari reportedly spent years trying to make the car feel unique. So, classic Ferrari once again. The steering is sharp, the chassis is sophisticated, the technology is actually quite impressive, and knowing Ferrari, it'll probably destroy a racetrack somehow with that sedan build. Because Ferrari engineers are very good at their jobs, nobody is arguing that here. But here's where things start to get a little bit ugly, because no one buys a Ferrari just because it's merely fast. If speed alone sold Ferraris, everyone would just buy a Tesla, unfortunately. Ferrari sells something else: emotion, drama, theater, the feeling that every drive is an event. And that's where the Luce runs into a wall, because for a lot of enthusiasts, Ferraris aren't remembered by acceleration numbers. They're remembered by sounds: the howl of a V12, the scream of an engine climbing toward red line, the vibrations, the mechanical chaos, the sensation that something alive is happening behind you. The Luce just can't replicate that because batteries just don't sing. Now we need to discuss the elephant in the room, or perhaps the electric crossover in the room, because wow, this thing is very controversial. A lot of people love it, and many people do not, myself included. Ferrari has made some of the most beautiful cars ever created. For example, the Ferrari F40, the Ferrari Enzo, the 458 Italia, and then the LaFerrari. But then the Luce arrived looking like someone stretched a hatchback in Photoshop. It's not hideous, it's just confusing, because a lot of Ferrari fans expected a more futuristic supercar, and instead they got something that looks like it accidentally wandered out of a luxury crossover showroom. But then we get to the price, which is where Ferrari performed like a flawless recreation of a bank robbery. Ferrari isn't exactly known for affordability, let's be clear. Nobody expects that, but the Luce enters a market where EV competition is getting stronger every year, and that's dangerous because once you remove the Ferrari engine experience, people start asking uncomfortable questions. Questions like, wait, why is it so expensive? With traditional Ferraris, the answer is easy: the engine, the engineering, the heritage, the sound, the emotion, the experience. But with an EV, Ferrari suddenly just has to justify itself differently, and that's much harder.
I got hundreds of messages asking me about what I think about some cars that other car manufacturers are launching at the moment. I don't really know, I'm just doing my thing. It's a little bit different from what other car manufacturers are doing. Just a little bit, I think. But you know, it's our thing.
Then came the industry reactions, and Bugatti didn't exactly sound eager about the whole new EV Ferrari. Bugatti leadership has repeatedly emphasized that future Bugattis should continue delivering emotional combustion experiences rather than becoming purely electric. Translation: we're keeping the giant engine, thanks. And it wasn't a direct attack, but everyone knew who they were talking about, because when Ferrari's biggest rivals are talking about preserving emotion while you're unveiling a silent EV, the comparison writes itself. Then Lamborghini stepped up, and Lamborghini's message was basically, we know what our customers want. Lamborghini openly delayed a fully electric supercar timeline because executives believe customers still wanted combustion engines. Again, not a direct attack, but also not subtle. Imagine unveiling your groundbreaking electric Ferrari, and then your biggest rival immediately says, yeah, our customers don't want that. That has to sting. And then, somehow, out of all other companies, Nissan entered the conversation, which is hilarious, because Nissan has spent years working on future performance EV concepts while also talking about preserving excitement and driver engagement. And here's the funny part. When enthusiasts started comparing future performance EVs, some people became more excited about what Nissan might do with a future GTR rather than Ferrari's electric debut. Think about that. Ferrari, the company whose badge alone dominates the headlines, was suddenly being compared against speculative future Nissans. That's not where Ferrari wants the conversation to be. And funnily enough, I was actually able to get a source from one of my friends on their direct first opinions on the Ferrari Luce, and they brought up some good points and also some very funny points, and this is what they said. Rumor says that they need to meet an average CO2 emission goal across their range, so they made an electric car lower enough, and they made it so ugly to separate it from the rest of the brand. Which, okay, let's start there. So that's a fair assumption because Aston Martin actually did that a little bit back with the Signet. They actually rebadged the Toyota IQ, and that single car alone in their entire lineup actually managed to reduce their CO2 emissions, so that was actually acceptable. So this isn't actually a bad take. But here we go. Continuing on with what my friend was saying, they've not been cooking recently. I'm going to the Goodwood Festival this year, and I hope I don't see it, which is pretty funny. And honestly, I kind of agree with them. If I was going to a festival and Ferrari brings this absolutely, like, this looks like a Prius Nissan Leaf here. If they brought that to the festival, I would just be disappointed. Like, that would even impact their image even more. So yeah, I hope that they don't see it there either. But anyway, the Luce's biggest problem isn't performance, it isn't engineering, and it isn't technology. It's actually identity. Because for decades, Ferrari wasn't selling transportation. It wasn't even selling speed. Ferrari was selling a dream, a soundtrack, an experience, a machine that felt special before you even turned the key. The Luce might be faster than many Ferraris that came before it, but faster doesn't automatically mean better. Because let me ask you a question, would you rather drive a Ferrari Luce or a Ferrari 458 Italian? That's what I thought. So faster doesn't automatically mean better, and that's the dilemma Ferrari faces now. How do you build an electric Ferrari that still feels like a Ferrari? But who knows, maybe the Luce will somehow become a big success. Maybe it'll prove everyone wrong. Maybe in 10 years we'll look back and realize Ferrari saw the future before anyone else. That's entirely possible, but right now, it feels less like Ferrari confidently leading to the next era, and more like Ferrari trying to figure out what Ferrari even is without an engine. And for a company built on some of the greatest sounds in automotive history, that's a much bigger challenge than building a fast electric car. Besides, if Ferrari wanted people to stop making jokes about their cars, they probably shouldn't have named one Luce.